It's Friend of a Friend City. I'm Heather, and I'm here to meet some friends of friends. And welcome again to Friend of a Friend City, where I get to meet some friends of my friends from this big small town of Brisbane. Now, today we have two guests who are friends of my friends Caitlin and Jim. Our first guest is a friend of Caitlin, and your name was Genevieve Poodles. Now, Caitlin mentioned that you're a freelance librarian.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, tell me about that. I haven't heard of a freelance librarian before.
Well, you see, librarians tend to be located in libraries and in schools and in universities, and they're full of knowledge and they do wonderful work. But me, I just feel like there's so much more to librarianing. And one of the things that I feel is that librarians tend to not innovate very much. I'm here to innovate and create bespoke book and word organisation for those who are brave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're really taking the librarian role in innovative directions.
Yes, 100%. I feel that librarians in general, no shame, have been doing the same thing for thousands and thousands of years. And I think in the advent of technology and people wanting to do interesting things with their lives, why not apply that to books too, Heather?
So tell me about what's one of the interesting things you're up to?
Okay, so depending on the client, I might organise their books or magazines or textbooks or novels in a way that's unique to them. So instead of going fiction, non-fiction, a Dewey Decimal System, alphabetised, sometimes I just go with the flow. For example, last week, one of my clients is a big Backstreet Boys fan, and I organised all of their books based on the vibe of the Backstreet Boys Millennium album.
Oh, okay.
Song by song.
So you're getting, am I correct to say you're taking a book title and then you're categorising it by the Backstreet Boys song that best represents it?
Yeah, for that particular client on
for
that particular day.
client.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
so what's one of the books they had? Let's say they had to Catcher in the Rye. Where would that sit for the Backstreet Boys?
I'm thinking, so Catcher in the Rye, it's one of those books that you hear about a lot. Not many people that I know have read it. I certainly haven't read it, but it's one that's mentioned a lot in a lot of different places. So I think that really matches the Backstreet Boys song Larger Than Life.
Oh, okay.
So when Larger Than Life was playing, I placed Catcher in the Rye. I should say Catcher in the Rye on the shelf, maybe alongside The Godfather by Mario Puzo, another very commonly mentioned book slash story.
So, yeah, you're really kind of setting up.
yeah.
Wow, you have a real system behind this, don't you?
Well, yeah, for that one, I have had comments / complaints from clients who later want to locate a book and can't. But you have to understand that it really depends on the vibe at the time of the organisation.
So it sounds like what your clients aren't really getting. You're doing a library service point in time, in a sense.
Yes.
And have they lost their books? Have they had anything?
The books are still in the bookcase.
Okay.
It's just whereabouts.
Whereabouts?
It's like an ongoing adventure.
Yeah. And you don't give them a list or anything. You just say, here's the vibe.
Here's the vibe.
Wow. Can you tell me, have you got any famous clients?
Well, not anymore, in that I have been told that I was instrumental in the downfall of Angus and Robertson. Yes.
That's quite a...
Yeah, so they were a famous client. And then when people went in to find books, they couldn't locate them, which I think was part of the nail in the coffin for that company. So I did have a famous client, you could say. By client, I mean... I wasn't paid for that job, but it was early days in my bespoke librarianing career.
So you're saying you weren't getting paid for that job?
No.
How does that work then?
At that point, I was really just developing my style, and what better place to learn about how to organise books than a bookshop?
Right.
whether I was welcome there or not.
And were you unwelcomed occasionally?
I am now no longer welcome in any bookshops that I'm aware of. Every Dymocks in Australia and New Zealand has a picture of me at the door saying, "Do not let this woman in."
Wow, you're doing some real damage to these bookshops. It sounds like
Damage.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the right word
Heather,
to use.
I look, some people would say damage. I respect every single book, so I'm not damaging it. I'm just offering a new way of looking at book categorization, Heather.
Now, you did mention before, so I mentioned Catcher in the Rye and that you hadn't read it. Do you read books?
No.
You're not a book reader?
No, I find that it takes away from the general experience of categorizing and systematically placing books in a pleasing fashion. What I do tend to rely on, for example, if a client says to me, I would like these books organized by theme, what I might do is I might rely on something like Goodreads or Amazon.com.au to tell me the synopsis. But I do not read the books, no.
You do not read the books?
I do a lot of judging books by their cover.
That's. I feel like that's what every librarian has told me not to do.
Well, Heather, I am a freelance, bespoke librarian. It's a new way to be.
So what made you want to get into this field? You don't read books, so...
No, but as a child, I was told several times a day that I needed to clean my room, and I thought that it was clean and tidy. I had everything exactly in a system where I wanted it. I might have had a ruler under the bed, but I knew where that ruler was. I might have had a chair with half dirty clothes, the clothes that you want to wear again that aren't that bad. There was a system, Heather, and I thought people have an idea of what tidy, what organised looks like. And I think that there's other ways to be and other ways to have things in your space.
Yeah, right. So you've taken that from very young age of deciding that you know where things are, so that means it's organised, to taking that into a fully fledged career. How long have you been doing this for?
Well, I'm looking at about 10 years now.
10 years?
Yeah.
It's quite a while. Quite quick to be permanently banned from every bookshop.
Well, good news is I'm not yet banned from op shops.
You're not banned from op shops?
No. So when you walk into an op shop, for example, the Lifeline at Virginia, and you go in and you think, who on earth put all of these books in this order? Why is a 5 ingredients book next to the Princess Diaries? It's possible I was there.
I went to that op shop recently, actually.
Yep.
And I found a book between a pair of used Birkenstocks. Explain that to me.
Well, what was the book that you found between the Birkenstocks, let me ask?
Oh, I think it was a Jamie Oliver 10-minute recipes book.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So my thought process behind that was when you're making things in the kitchen, especially in 10 minutes, that's quick sticks. You don't want to be faffing about with putting on socks and then putting on shoes and then tying your laces. There's no time for that with a 10-minute recipe, not at all. Birkenstocks, what you do is you just slide them on and then you're ready to go. And they've got a lovely grippy bottom, so you're not going to be slipping all over the kitchen. That was my thought when I placed that book between the 2 Birkenstocks. Were they different sizes, those 2 Birkenstocks?
I actually think they were. They were different colours, and that was you as well.
That was me as well. I'm trying to appeal to the masses. If I just have one size of the same shape, same colour, same style Birkenstocks, there's only one person that's going to really appreciate that, and that is the eventual buyer of those Birkenstocks. I really want to spread the love and spread my vision. Particularly in Virginia, and then maybe I'll move on to Nunda, and then maybe I'll move on to Clayfield and Hendra and just work my way through the north side.
It sounds like you've taken libraries by storm. It sounds like you're about to take op shops by storm.
Well, I'm not welcome in many of the libraries either, so it's, yeah.
No libraries for you?
No, and I do miss Chermside Library, especially. Lots and lots of different books that they don't let me categorise to my standards anymore. But also on a hot day, got the pool right next door, and and I'm now no longer allowed in that pool because it's still within 100 metres of that library.
Wow, a full boundary around the library.
Yeah, the librarians there are brilliant. No, absolutely brilliant, but just not ready to accept my my vision.
It sounds like they're brilliant at being security guards as well. Now, we do have to move on to our next guest. Are you happy to stick around?
Oh, absolutely.
Great. Our next guest is a friend of my friend Jim, and their name is Phil Fumblum. And Jim mentioned, Phil, that you're a Pokemon trainer. You've been a Pokemon trainer for a while.
Yeah, I've been a Pokemon trainer for 30 years.
You've been a Pokemon trainer for 30 years.
Yep.
That seems like quite a while to be a Pokemon trainer.
Well, I'm 40 years old now. Pokemon training starts when you're 10.
Yep.
I've been a Pokemon trainer 30 years.
And how's that going for you?
Ooh, that's a bit of a sore subject.
Okay.
It's going all right. I will say I had dreams when I was a 10-year-old, just starting out as a Pokemon trainer, and many of them have gone unfulfilled. No thanks to the big wigs at the Pokemon League. You get promised a lot.
Who are these big wigs that are coming at you?
Well, the Elite Four.
Oh, okay.
The Elite Four?
I don't. You'll have to name them.
I'm not going to name the Elite
You're not
Four.
going to name them. Not going to give them that sort of...
The Elite Four, the 8 gym leaders of the Kanto region, they're all out to get me. Listen, I'm not here to go into chapter and verse. That's all in the affidavits. I'm just here to talk about my life as a Pokemon trainer, all right? The unpleasantness, I don't want to get stuck into it. But all I can say is... you start life as a Pokemon trainer at age 10. That's the age we start. We get kicked out of our home. They say, go be a Pokemon trainer, wander the Kanto region. Mm. You anticipate by the age of 12, 13, you'll be an international superstar. It's not how it's worked for me. So I guess just a cautionary tale for all those young kids who are about to start their Pokemon journeys.
Yeah, because as far as I know, the classic catchphrase is catch them all.
You got to catch them all.
Got to catch them all. So how's that gone for you? What Pokemon have you caught?
Okay. So, as you know, Pokedex, there was 151 Pokemon, and that's expanded over time to be over 1,000 Pokemon.
Yep, quite a lot.
But to get all the 1,000 Pokemon, you got to be able to travel, right? And I don't know if you've seen the salary of a Pokemon trainer, but it's not good. No one's paying you to go around and battle Pokemon, catch Pokemon. So I've been able to catch less than 50 Pokemon, and
what's less than 50? What's the number? Surely
I've been able to catch 20 Pokemon.
20
Pokemon, and I've got my partner Pokemon. That's another thing. My partner Pokemon. Can I just have a rant about my partner Pokemon really quickly?
Yeah.
Most trainers start out, they get a Pokemon, they get a Pikachu or a Bulbasaur or a Charmander or a Squirtle.
Yep.
Right. I've got a Geodude, right, which is fine. Geodude, good rock Pokemon, can't fully evolve without trading.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you see my problem? Right? If I want to fully evolve my Geodude, who's a Graveler now, the middle evolution, I have to trade my Pokemon away for it to be a Golem, and then it's not my Pokemon anymore.
So
I'm hamstrung from the start.
Jeez, yeah.
So, Professor Oak's got a lot to answer for.
He has a lot to answer for.
Right, yeah, he's got his favourites. I won't name any names.
You won't, no. Pointed look, and you could name names, but... So you've caught 20 Pokemon then?
Yep.
That seems to have taken you, obviously, a little while, 30 years in the profession, and not a Pokemon per year. What have people got to say about that? Do you ever see your family, and do they...
No, I don't see my family. So when you become a Pokemon trainer, you leave your home, you say goodbye to your parents, and you wander the Kanto region. And that's hard enough by itself, right? Can I just point out that we live in an environment where there are literal monsters trying to attack you every day, right? And I've got a not fully evolved starter, and I'm trying to hold my own. Team Rocket are there.
Team Rocket
will fuck you up if you're not prepared. The number of times Team Rocket have stolen money from me. Jim, look... I'll be walking down the street and there'll be a random person suddenly appear with an exclamation mark over their head, and I've got to battle them. And if I battle them, I lose money. So...
And there's no way to not battle them.
No. Once the exclamation mark appears over the head, you are locked in by law. You cannot avoid that battle.
Jeez.
It seems like you're really a slave to this system.
I am a slave to my Pokedex. You know, I spend all my days looking at that Pokedex, looking at those hundreds and hundreds of Pokemon that I don't have.
And how are they organised?
They're organised. Well, you could change. They're organised by number traditionally, but you can organise them different ways.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that system.
Okay.
Genevieve really only focused on the categorization.
And the taxonomy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, please. So you've lost a lot of money. Please continue.
Well, I'm just saying I don't have a lot of transferable skills. So I'm 40 now. I'm getting too old to just wander to the Kanto region. And what skills do I have? I have the skill of throwing balls at stuff. That's not particularly transferable in today's economy.
No, it's not. And it must feel hard seeing all these young upstart trainers just coming through while you're still out there.
Yeah, I'm at an age now where all the gym leaders are younger than me. And I've never been able to get all 8 gym badges of the Kanto region. And it's demoralizing. It's demeaning. I mean, holding down relationships hard. People don't want to settle down with the Pokemon trainer. I live a lonely itinerant lifestyle. So, it's been hard.
So what's holding you back? There's got to be. Is there something have you done a little bit of soul searching? Is there something that you think is keeping you from really catching them all?
Yeah. Look, there is. And I think really it boils down to 2 things. One thing, importantly, is that, again, the Pokemon League have it out for me. And the second thing is that the Pokemon don't respect me as a man.
Oh.
I let them out of their Pokeball and they look at me and it's evolved, no pun intended, from a look of vague disinterest to a look of outright contempt. You know, when you see a Mankey look at you with contempt, you know you've done something wrong along the way.
Right.
So you've got a cranky Mankey right there watching you.
Yes. The Mankey's temperament is classically cranky. Thank you, Genevieve.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's got to be tough. These what seem like quite adorable little creatures just looking at you and going, no.
Yeah. There's some adorable Pokemon out there. I'm not going to lie. Jigglypuff, that's adorable, right? But when that Jigglypuff stops singing a song to put other Pokemon to sleep and starts singing a parody song about how much of a no-hoper you are, that shit hurts. Wow. It's not adorable anymore.
They're keeping you awake just so you hear it.
Yeah. They're keeping me awake just so I hear it. Do you familiar with the Pokemon Vileplume?
I can't say I am.
Okay. Well,
what is
Vileplume?
I was told that you were familiar with my world, but all right. The Pokemon Vileplume is a big stinky plant, basically.
Okay.
And my Vileplume, one of the few fully evolved Pokemon that I had, told me that I smelled too much and left. I'd stopped taking care of myself.
The classically stinky Pokemon told you smell.
Yeah, Vileplume, literally the name of the Pokemon, told me I smelled because, to be fair to the Vileplume, I had stopped showering. I'd sort of given up on myself a fair bit. And that hurt. That hurt me. It hit me a lot. So anyway, I've come on holiday here to the Australia region.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for a bit of a reset.
Yeah, because so you're friends with Jim. Jim obviously knows you. You're staying with Jim while you're here, or?
I was supposed to. I rocked up and he told me he didn't have room with his wife and child, but I suspect it's because I'm a 40-year-old man who still dresses like a 10-year-old and only has 7 out of the 8 badges of the Kanto region.
I mean, you are wearing a backwards cap and fingerless gloves. It's a bit of a look. I don't mean to dig in.
You cut me like a scyther.
I got to tell the truth to you. Obviously, there's a point where you do need to obviously make some changes potentially. Take a bit of this on board.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's true. I was talking to my therapist and they reckon that, the world of Digimon is out there, but I don't know where to start on the world of Digimon.
Yep.
Digital monsters? What's that?
Who'd know? They don't fit in your pocket, evidently.
I certainly
What about you, Genevieve? What do you think about Phil's conundrum?
I think Phil could benefit from not thinking in such black and white terms. I have to have this. This is something that I need to do. I stink. I don't stink. Jim has space. Jim doesn't have space. I think that you could really benefit from just thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, so you're saying instead of thinking in red and blue terms, I should think in black and white terms. That's a joke that Pokemon fans will get.
I appreciate that is obviously very funny to a certain subset of the listeners that will listen to this. And that was my laugh in appreciation. But I think that
so polite, Genevieve.
No, well, I didn't want to not acknowledge it. I just wanted you to know that you're doing just fine, and maybe you should stop thinking about I need to tick every box.
So you're saying I've been categorizing my life incorrectly.
You've been categorizing your life in terms of achievements and what you should do rather than what you really want to do. I'm going to ask you the question. Do you want to be a Pokemon trainer 30 years later?
I do not want to be a Pokemon trainer anymore.
There you go.
But I don't know what I can do.
I happen to know a lady who owns a bespoke librarian business who may need someone who knows how to organise things for those people who might not want the new way of book organising.
I store my Pokemon in a box.
You store your Pokemon in a box?
Yeah. I walk into the Pokemon Center. In the top right-hand corner, there's a computer in which I deposit my Pokemon in a box. What's strange about that?
In a Pokemon, so you don't even keep them on your person?
I keep 6 of them on my person. By law, you are not allowed to keep any more of them on your person. The remainder I store in a box on a computer in the top right-hand corner of a Pokemon Center. What is so weird about that?
So hypothetically, there's 1,000, you said?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000. So just say there's 1,006. So there could be 1,000 Pokemon in that box in the top right-hand corner.
Well, not only that, but that same computer is used by everybody in that town to store their Pokemon in different boxes.
Much like a library.
In different boxes, but it's always in the top right-hand corner and never exceeds that amount of space.
I don't make the rules.
You don't make the rules.
Rules, again. Rules. We need to stop obeying so many rules. How about next time
the world I'm from is very regimented.
It's out
because every town. Can I tell you what every town has?
Please
every
do.
town has one Pokemon Center, one Pokemon Mart, no other grocery stores, a gym, and then selected houses that may or may not have doors.
May or may not have doors.
Some houses don't have doors.
Wow. So really, they're just there for dressing. For set dressing, I guess.
I think this is a ripe opportunity to start thinking, should I walk into the top left-hand corner and place an additional box in that space?
Well, no, in the top left corner is an escalator that leads to the upstairs room where you can trade and battle with people across the internet.
And is there a left-hand corner in the upstairs section?
I can't remember right now.
Well,
I'm on holiday.
Oh, beg your pardon.
It is sounding to me, though, like maybe you could use some new ideas in the Kanto region. Genevieve could be your perfect companion.
I think.
Have you thought about maybe switching it up, getting out of Virginia and potentially exploring the Kanto region?
That's a good idea. I think what I might do is I might bring a selection of CDs from the late 90s and early 2000s, and maybe that will help inspire.
What is a CD?
Oh, good question. A compact disc. Do you in the world of the Pokemon, do you have any sort of device that allows you to listen to music?
Oh, a Pokegear.
A Pokegear. Okay, so imagine a Pokegear that plays music from approximately 1998 through to 2005.
Potentially summer hits?
That is my era.
Yeah, okay, likewise. I have a Pokegear, was that right? Pokegear. Beg your pardon. I'm always learning. I'm always improving.
How do you put music into the Pokegear?
Well, that was going to be my question for you because I have the Bewitched album ready to go, ready to load.
Okay. Is Bewitched a ghost Pokemon?
Oh, you are in for a treat,
Like
Phil.
Gengar?
You are in for a treat. You'll find out.
Do you have witches in the Kanto region?
Do we have witches in the Kanto region? I believe that the psychic type gym leader in Saffron City is a sort of witch called Sabrina.
Oh, okay. Well, that honestly lines up quite
I hadn't
well.
put that together, that her name is Sabrina and she's a witch.
Is she teenaged?
I think so, yeah.
you go.
Another annoying thing.
Another.
That must be so frustrating.
It's frustrating. I'm a 40-year-old man and I'm fighting
You're
against...
seeing these teenagers and they're just one-upping you, it seems.
Yeah. My Pokemon are all weak to psychic. What can I say? You know?
Yeah. You just... it's a tough life out there.
It sounds it.
I've got to ask a little bit. So you've moved between the Kanto region to come have a little holiday in Australia.
Correct. Yeah.
How's it gone with your just general senses? Because as far as I know in the Kanto region, the sounds are very similar all the time. Have you been overwhelmed by the amount of resolution in this?
You live in a beautiful place. I will say that. I'm overwhelmed by the choices. I'm used to moving in the cardinal directions. It's crazy here. You can go, it's not just top left and top right. There's all sorts of diagonals. There's a third, there's up.
You must be blown away by that extra
Up
dimension.
is amazing to me.
Up is amazing.
Yeah. Also, I'm also annoyed. One thing about this place is that when I throw balls at animals, people yell at me, which seems culturally insensitive.
You will find that. One thing that I've noticed about you that has made meeting you very interesting, Phil, is that everything you say is broadcast above your head in a speech bubble as well.
That's correct.
And that I've found
Thank
very
you for pushing
useful.
A every time.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Really
It has been a little bit of a drag, but we've kept it up.
You have. It's
nice
been a really good cardio for you guys. I don't need cardio because I walk everywhere.
No, exactly.
Are there vehicles in the Poke world?
In other regions, I believe you can buy a bike.
But
Not in the Kanto
as you
region.
have said already, you're
I'm too
have a
poor
lot
to
of
travel.
money.
This was the one holiday I got. Jim paid.
Yeah.
So I was in a bad place. But I think you're right. I probably need to make a change. Probably need to move to a different region, perhaps the region that Black and White is set in.
Yeah.
I do want to ask: Have you caught someone's pet dog in a Pokeball in Australia? Is that what the barking sound is?
Yeah. In an unrelated note, I have been asked to leave the country tomorrow. So this is my last day here. But it's amazing the technology on Pokeballs these days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just.
Are you planning to release that dog back into their previous location before you leave?
I am planning on bringing back to Kanto a new Pokemon that's going to help me finally defeat Sabrina. And if that's a crime in this precious little country, well, I'll have an 8th gym badge and I won't care.
You will not care.
It's a solution to your problem.
It's a solution to my
You're doing
problems.
something different. It's
It
great.
is a solution
And those
to your
big
problem.
wigs of the Pokemon League don't have jurisdiction here, and the Queensland Police Force doesn't have jurisdiction in Kanto. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm diplomatic immunity, baby.
And the big wigs at QBD and Dimmicks, they can't reach you there either. So
Yeah, you know what? I feel a bit of a kindred spirit with you because there's people who are trying to tell us to do things their way, right?
Exactly.
And we've realized
it just doesn't work.
doesn't work.
It just doesn't work.
If we want to be the very best, like nobody ever was.
To reorganize books is my quest. To read them is someone else's cause.
Because you don't read.
You
No.
don't read, yeah.
No. Yeah.
Look.
I like audiobooks.
Audiobooks are a good time. Very hard, traditionally, very hard to categorize on a bookshelf. One day when they realize how to put audiobooks into physical form, then I will be able to put them in the correct order based on the vibe onto the bookshelf.
The only book I read is my Pokedex. So I just put that on the shelf.
That's that's one way to do it. In what order do you put it on the shelf? Is it the same order of? Okay, that's one way to do it.
It's a real indictment of the Kanto region that they're just sending these kids out with no information except for one Pokédex. And that's
correct.
it.
Correct. I barely knew how to wipe my ass. And suddenly I'm out there. There's electric Pokemon trying to shock me. There's fire. Something there to tell you about fire Pokemon. They start fires. They don't even mean to. Right? But I'll be sleeping on the ground. They give you a sleeping bag, and like a friggin' Magmar will walk by or whatever, and then suddenly the whole forest's on fire, and I got to out of there. You know, no one's helping me. The bloody volunteer firefighters are all Squirtles. You know, they're preoccupied with just, you know, Squirtle stuff. It's the whole system needs to be brought down. You know,
I would agree with you there.
Hell yeah.
We need to stop obeying systems. Yeah.
Can I have one? Just one. I mean, we've got a bit of time.
Yeah,
I just want to. I know
it.
I said I wasn't going to name names earlier, but I just want like Ash Ketchum, right? So
I've heard of him. He seems pretty cool.
Well, so okay, the first two gym leaders that you encounter in Kanto, right, is Brock, the rock gym leader, and Misty, the water gym leader, right? And Ash, you know, beats them both. And then next minute, they're traveling around Kanto with him. The fix is in. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be an investigation into this.
Sounds like something is up.
Something's up. And now he's the champion. You know, I think, look, I don't want to be this guy, but I think we should really look at his mum and Professor Oak and whether there's anything that's happening there. Because I'm saying something might have happened that's given him preferential treatment. Now he's the league champion.
Bit of nepotism potentially, yeah.
How many books does Ash own, Ash Ketchum?
Well, he's like a 13-year-old boy. So
more comic books.
More comic books, probably.
Yeah.
Again, Pokédex.
So I'd be interested to see how the Pokédex is indexed in with all of the comic books. Maybe I should meet this Ash Ketchum.
Maybe.
Ash Ketchum.
So that is, we are getting to all the time we have. I've just got one last question for you both. And something I asked all my guests is just, what's your favourite thing to do in Brisbane? Now, I know you haven't been here too long, Phil, but maybe you've got something in mind. What about yourself, Genevieve?
Well, as you know, it was to go down the water slide at Chermside Leisure Centre there next to the library. But now I would say, you know, just going for a stroll along the fake beach at South Bank, worrying about the fact that there's no books there at all, and thinking about how I might get a couple of bookshelves in there and just reinvent South Bank as a whole and get more people engaged in the mission that I'm here to spread.
That could be a real innovation, an underwater bookshelf.
Yeah, with audiobooks and physical books.
What about yourself, Phil?
In Brisbane?
In Brisbane.
Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary was a particularly fertile ground for me. Those Pokemon are slow.
So I did hear about Lone Pine being putting out a wanted poster.
Yeah, no, I didn't even have to weaken them.
Wow, you just
those Pokemon were dopey.
Okay, so
it was a one and done situation. You didn't have to whittle them down, put them to sleep, paralyze them, anything like that. It was just throw a ball. Thank you.
Geez, so you're taking more than just a dog home.
Yeah, no. But they're straight to the box. I mean, that Pokemon didn't have much in the way of battle skills. So
yeah. Okay,
I would love to see how you would catch a cassowary. That's a special Pokemon that I think I would love to see whether that one has some battle skills. I hear.
Where are they?
That one.
You might have to go further north.
You might not have time, unfortunately.
No.
I'm getting deported.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I'll do my best to send you one next time.
All
right. Well, thank you both. And thanks
thank
everyone.
You, Heather.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for listening to Friend of a Friend City.
Hi, Heather. It's Caitlin. I just wanted to thank you so much for having Genevieve on your show. She's been begging me for ages to have a bigger platform for her ideas, and I thought, Heather has a podcast, so thanks again. I guarantee your bookshelf is not how you left it, so I promise as soon as I can, I'll come over and help you reset it. Thank you again. Ta, bye.
Hi, Heather. Thanks for having Phil on the podcast. Bit of bad news. Phil was actually arrested at the airport. So probably best if the cops call. Just don't mention me or even that he was on the podcast. A lot of people are really upset at him. A lot of RSPCA folks have picketed the prison. So just maybe, avoid. And I was over here. All right, bye.